Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I just got done watching the newest episode of The Flash, Season 3. This episode was entitled The New Rogues, and this is sort of an impromptu review, to be honest, because I wasn't planning on reviewing it. I figured I'd let a couple episodes go by, a Flash and Arrow, until I did another one, but while watching this episode, I was so amused, so entertained. I enjoyed it so much, I felt a need to talk about it. So at the very beginning, we see 3 years ago, and we see this criminal guy and his girlfriend. They're arranging some deal with Leonard Snart, Captain Cold, I guess maybe before he was Captain Cold, and it goes sour. They're about to go at it until the accelerator explodes. And the Flash comes over, the ray of light, I should say, comes over, and he gets affected. Leonard Snart gets away, and I guess he doesn't, Snart doesn't have meta powers, right? He's not a meta-human, he just has the freeze gun, so I guess he wasn't affected by it, but they were, and this guy ends up inside the mirror, which is kind of silly, and then we jump ahead 3 years later, present day, and he just now gets out of the mirror. It's kind of weird. I thought it was a little convenient, a little random that it's just now where he decided to come out or was able to come out. He said he was lost, so I guess it just wasn't until this point where he was able to get out and do something. Now he is the Mirror Master, and I was always aware of the character. I've heard of him, but I don't know a lot about him. And at least seeing this version of him on this show, I have to admit, Mirror Master is a little lame. Kind of a lame villain. Not the worst, but certainly not the best. He was just middle of the road. I will say that he got more interesting once I saw how maybe cool looking his abilities were. Him jumping from mirror to mirror and him going after people, throwing them into mirrors, and then them winding up on the other side of another mirror. It was interesting, it was cool looking, it was different, but I just felt like overall it was a little lame. He came back to look for Snart, but he didn't realize that Snart's gone. I love the moment where Barry's talking to Joe, and he's like, yeah, Snart left with a bunch of friends of ours, and he didn't even truly know really what they were doing or what's going on, and they sort of left it at that. It's yeah, let's not talk too much about Legends of Tomorrow. No offense, but I don't really care for the show. Now this brings me to something, probably the best part of the episode, and this is why I enjoyed it so much. You see Barry and Iris actually being a couple. I know that they established that they're dating, and I know that it's been a thing for the last couple episodes, but it's been such not a thing for so long. For 2 seasons, they were pining away for each other, and we finally now get it. It's almost odd seeing them together. It's almost odd seeing them embracing or kissing. I'm still getting used to it. So I love that this whole episode was pretty much about how weird it was, or at least on Barry's end and Joe's end. I love how when they're just gonna have a nice little home date with wine and whatnot, romantic evening, and then as they're kissing, Joe shows up home early. I loved how just Barry hearing him at the door, he flashed all the stuff away, turned it into chess pieces, and was like, oh hey, what's up, Joe? Didn't know you were coming home early. I laughed so much at that scene. Then Iris' reaction of what the hell, he knows we're dating, it shouldn't be weird. And then it wasn't until Barry said this to her I thought, oh yeah, that is weird, because Barry was but it's Joe, he's your father, and I'm he's both of their fathers, kind of. They were raised as brother and sister, kind of, sort of, right? This is a very weird situation. This is a very weird relationship that they have. It's weird. I don't blame Barry though. Iris is getting more and more attractive, I think, as the episodes go on. So yeah, I that probably wouldn't stop me either. But I just loved all of this. And then when she wants him to talk to Joe, actually stop with all of this nonsense, talk to him, and then Barry does go to talk to him. He's like, hey, let's talk about this. And it was so awkward, but on purpose awkward, and I loved it. I was laughing again during this scene where he's like, yeah, so we're gonna be kissing in front of you. I hope that's not weird. And Joe's like, that's very weird. I don't want to see that. But like, he wasn't being a dick about it. He was just like, do what you gotta do, but whatever, leave me out of it. That was funny. And then when they all were having movie night, and Iris is cuddled up to him on the couch, and Joe's in the chair, they're eating pizza, watching a movie, and Barry looks over at Joe because Iris is cuddled up, and he's just like, yeah, let me move a little bit. And she got like fed up and was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Hash it out, talk it out. But they get interrupted, of course, a mission to do. I just thought all of that worked. It was funny, very comedic, but not too silly. I like that it was like an issue that probably should have been addressed, but I like that they didn't take it too seriously or didn't have her get overly mad at him. Like, it was treated perfectly. Let me now talk about Jessie Quick, because Jessie Quick, she came in with Harrison Wells, at least her father's version of Harrison Wells, and she's a speedster now, and she's, I guess she wants to be a part of the missions with Barry. She wants to work with him, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about Jessie. Like, I don't dislike her, but I don't really like her either. I don't love her. Like, she's kind of just there. And I feel like I'm supposed to feel something for her. I feel like I'm supposed to maybe like her or understand her, and I don't. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's the actress's fault. Maybe it's the writing. Maybe this show just hasn't done a good enough job of introducing her when they did, or really developing her, or making me feel like she's a part of the team. Now she has powers now she has a costume. It's almost like they expect me to think she went through some arc, or she's some big level character. I don't feel it. I don't. The moment where she's hanging out with Wally, and she goes to kiss him, and Wally pulls back, I'm like, dude! I mean, as much as I don't really care for the character, she's still cute. You're not really going to kiss her? Oh, but you're from another Earth and you're going to go back home. Come on, Wally. Really? Just go with it, man. Who cares? Then they have an altercation with Mirror Master, and Barry ends up thrown in a mirror. And this is another moment where I'm like, Jessie, come on. They said you weren't ready. He told you to stay back. I know, who's really going to do it? But she went along anyways and really got Barry in trouble. I was a little pissed at her for that. It was a little amusing how they were trying to figure out how to get Barry out of the mirror. And then the moment when Iris went up to the mirror and was like, does this dress make my butt look big? I laughed at that too. And honestly, is that really a bad thing if the dress does make her... Okay, anyways. So we see that they figure out, Cisco and Wells figure out to freeze the mirror to get Barry out, but it's not cold enough. Then, without anybody looking or there, Caitlin, who has these Killer Frost-like powers, she uses those powers to help freeze it to get it colder, and Barry's able to get out. This was interesting. I like that, Caitlin, she's not trying to tell the group about her powers. She's not trying to even use the powers or really do much with it. But when she saw that it could be needed, then she used it. So I like that. And then you see Second Chance. Flash and Jessie Quick, they go to face Mirror Master and Top once again. This time they easily defeat them. And that's the thing. You have an episode that's only 42 minutes long, so I think that's what also hurt the development of these villains, is that they were easily defeated. Like, the Top character I thought was interesting, how she could warp the shapes of the room and make you get vertigo and just really mess things up. It was a great effect, really cool, but like, she did it once on Jessie, screwed her up, and then the second time Jessie just beats her like that. I don't know. I wanted to get more behind these villains. Maybe it should have been a two-parter to really flesh them out a little bit more, but they were easily defeated. Harrison Wells, Jessie's father, Harrison Wells, this was kind of weird. They talked about how it hasn't been the same since he left, and I agree. I love Harrison Wells as a character. He's written great, and the actor is great. But he decides, okay, well, let's get you your own Harrison Wells. So they search through all of the other Earths to find another version of Harrison Wells and who's best suitable to then come here and I guess be with them. It's weird because it's like, okay, so how do we explain this? How do we explain that there's a Harrison Wells there? Didn't Earth 1's Harrison Wells, wasn't he, at least in the public's eye, a criminal? Don't they think he's dead? So now they're just going to have him be here. Like, I get it. I know that you want to keep Wells around, and maybe it's not going to make sense if you don't want to keep Jesse around, so that Wells has to leave with her. So it's a little convoluted, it's a little silly, it's a little weird, but if it gets Wells back in the crew, back on the show more permanently, I guess I'm for it. I just had to point out how weird it is. This Wells is a little goofier, and I don't know how to feel about that yet because I like Wells more serious, more straightforward. This one's a little goofy. We'll see, because the preview to next week's episode, that Wells did tell a joke that I thought was really funny. So as long as if it's funny, I'll stick with it, but I hope it's not too goofy. The very last shot, we see Caitlin in the shower. We're very spoiled. Good job. And Caitlin, her powers are manifesting. The waters freeze. She gets out, and like her lips are blue, and there's white in her hair. She looks like Rogue, and this is cool. This is interesting. Caitlin's like, I hope she's not turning evil, but if she's developing these powers, if they're accelerating, maybe because she used them or something, like, I'm curious to see where she goes. Overall, good episode, fun episode. Maybe not the best villain, but still overall a pretty damn fun episode. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Flash? Did you like it as much as I did? I saw some people aren't really enjoying season 3 because of the Flashpoint stuff, but come on, this was fun. So guys, let me know in the comments below, once again, what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!